Yeah, this is a trigger warning. We're going to be dealing with some really heavy subjects, including the murder of women and children, drug use, alcohol abuse, ceaseless violence, and a lot of other horrible, sad things. There are a lot of really heavy emotions in this episode. If you don't feel like you're in a good place, you should skip this one. We'll summarize something further on down the line so you don't miss any information. Tell me about Arthur's life in England about 8 years before we meet him at the start of our campaign.
Oh, he was living it large with air quotes for the people who can't see. You know, he wasn't exactly paycheck to paycheck as per se, but you know he had enough money to feed himself and his family. You know, he was happy. He didn't go around beating up old ladies for the fun of it.
Mm-hmm. No, that came later.
Yeah.
That's called growth. Okay, so tell me about your wife. What kind of woman does Arthur fall in love with?
I think she's a very stern woman, personally. I feel like she's like the boss, like tells him how it is. I feel like with the way Arthur is now, he's got no structure to his life. he just beats people up and fucking moves on, that's it. But I feel like back in the day, that's how it worked. He got told what to do and he did it.
He got told what to do and he did it. And you guys have a kid, right?
Yes. You know, it would be good if I could remember where I put the names for these people. I don't remember where I put the names from, so...
You can just make it up. This is a game about making stuff up.
I know, right? Yeah. This child is called Pete.
Pete.
I don't know. Yeah.
You can name the kid anything, and you've named it Pete. Full stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not spelled like P-E-T. It's like P-E-A-T, just because they wanted to be a bit bougie for the late 1860s.
Yeah, of course. Of course. So I think we find you at home with your wife, and I was going to do an accent for her, but I ended up having a 4-hour-long job interview today instead of practicing my accent. So she is going to sound suspiciously like me.
Oh,
I know.
Suspicious.
Get excited. It's almost like every NPC in this campaign sounds suspiciously like me.
It's okay. Don't worry. I'll envision someone who's vaguely one of your characteristics.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But we see you sitting around your dining table at home, and your house it's not a proud house, but it's yours. It's a little old, it's a little in disrepair, but you can tell that it's well loved. Everything's taken care of as best as it can be within your financial constraints. And we're here is Arthur from Manchester?
Yes. Like me. He is born and bred here, but I feel like he gets more out of his life in Manchester than I do.
Yeah, we find you and your wife, whose name I don't know, but you guys are sitting around the table.
Clarice.
Oh my god. Okay. Great.
That was just off the top of the dome.
I have a story about that name, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, you're sitting at your dinner table with Clarice and Pete, and today something interesting happened. Your friend JR approached you with a deal. It's something that was a little bit out of your league. Typically, you don't do bank jobs. You do low-level stuff because there's a lot less risk. But he says he has a guy. And that it's a sure thing. And it's going to set you up for life. And you can get your wife and Pete, P-E-A-T, out of this hovel.
How would he have sounded back then?
I think he would just have his regular accent, the accent that sometimes peeks through, but isn't the one that he speaks with every day.
The bit deeper, the deeper version of me. Okay.
Yeah.
Clarice, JR has offered me a job. It's a bit more dangerous, but It's apparently a more surefire thing.
JR? I thought you said that you weren't going to do any more jobs with JR after the last one.
Yes. But he said this is enough money for us to not live in a hovel and maybe change Pete's name to the proper spelling of Pete.
That was a odd gamble that we took on that, thinking that would become popular, but we can't find any baby toys with his name spelled correctly on them. I think we have made a mistake, Arthur, but I also think this is a mistake. It's too much risk. You have a son now.
Yes, and I'm sure little Pete here, P-E-A-T, Pete, would really love if we spelled his name correctly.
We would all love that, but it's also the 1800s, so we can just change the spelling of his name, and I don't think anybody's going to notice. But Arthur, I'm being serious here. I know you love to divert with your jokes and your humor, and you've always been so funny and lighthearted, and that's one of the reasons I fell in love with you, because you are...
you never hurt a soul. I know, you told me before, but...
You would never hurt a soul, a fly, and you're so kind and gentle, and you're such a good father, and I don't think it's worth the risk. Whatever JR is offering, I don't think it's worth the risk.
And I know you are worried about the risk, the high risk, high reward. You know, we can finally buy a house in the nice part of Manchester. I don't know where that is, but
there's a nice part of Manchester.
It's classed as Warrington, but we don't have to tell anybody that. And you know, we can have pots and pans that don't break every time we use them, and windows with actual glass in them. All these nice things that you always say that you want to have.
Your wife reaches across the table and puts her hand over yours. Windows with glass in them?
Windows with glass in them. I know it's a stretch. It's not... You've seen that one house down the street who had a window pane? It got smashed. We'll live in a place where window panes don't get smashed. It's a win-win.
And she's shaking her head. She's in disbelief. It sounds too good to be true, Arthur. And JR's promises, I don't know. He's screwed you over so many times.
You worry about getting Pete a new birth certificate.
Yeah, PEAT. We will... Okay.
We will amend that, and I will deal with JR. I will make sure we get a good deal out of this. If he says it's a surefire thing, I'm sure we can trust him. I'm sure nothing will go wrong.
Okay.
I'm sure of it.
Arthur, I love you with all of the breath in my body, and I know that you would never do anything to put our son, Pete, P-E-A-T, or I, at risk. And okay, I don't think this is a great idea. I am so nervous, but I trust you and I love you and I believe in you. I know that whatever happens, you'll take care of us, our family.
Oh, yes. You know, I always do my best for this family.
I know.
You and Pete, P-E-A-T, just... you both fill my heart with so much love. So, you know, I'm going to do everything I can to get you out of here.
You're the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm so glad that I married you, Arthur, after our childhood courtship and, you know, lifelong friendship. It's the most beautiful thing that's ever happened in either of our lives, I think. And of course,
100%. Well, unfortunately, neither of us know how to spell.
Yeah, well, you know, that's part of being the peasant class in England in the mid-1800s, I don't think. Yeah,
I don't think anybody else knows how to spell.
No, I mean, between my back-breaking 18-hour shifts at the textile factory and your, you know, needing to scrape by, it's just, it is what it is. You know, reading and writing wasn't something either of us prioritized, but Pete, P-E-A-T, he is going to learn how to spell. And he's not going to be embarrassed.
I will make sure of it. We'll have enough money to be able to pay for one of those fancy teaching things.
Oh my God. Oh, Arthur, you
screwed.
Speak so sweetly to me. You just can't let anything happen.
You know, sometimes people tell me they wish I was a man of fewer words.
I don't think you should shorten your sentences at all, baby.
I'm not going to.
You're just so funny and genuine and lovely to be around all the time. I can't imagine a world where you're not funny all the time. You're always cracking a joke and a smile, and you brighten everyone's lives. And I worry that JR with his schemes will, I don't know. I know it's not right for me to worry. I know you said that you're going to take care of it. But I love you so much. And she starts crying a little bit. Sorry, just watching your face do the math, like what are you supposed to do with a crying woman that you love? That is the best part of this for me so far.
Can you tell this is why I have relationship issues?
You're doing amazing.
I think Arthur just hugs Clarice and reassures her that everything is going to be okay. And then pulls Pete, P-E-A-T.
Of course.
In for a family cuddle.
Yeah. Pete's what, 2 at this stage? I mean, barely.
Something.
Yeah,
I can't count.
He's little. He's a little innocent baby who's never done anything wrong, has his whole future in front of him, his whole life.
You know, I can see him being a doctor.
Yeah, he could really help people. He could do anything. We find you and Jensen, JR, I guess, is what you know him as, but he is your childhood friend. His name's Jensen Rainey. And I think we find you and JR maybe right after the robbery. I don't quite know what the police force was like in Manchester in the 1860s, but...
hit first, ask questions later, I'm sure was the way. Absolutely.
And they are in hot pursuit of the two of you. I mean, this did not go well. Things are very bad. I don't think it was an inside job, but what do you think went wrong? I mean, you're JR's friend. What happened?
I personally think that JR, because he's from, the shit side of town like Arthur was, I don't think he could actually read.
Yeah. And
I feel like he made mistakes, like when he was like making the plans. He got the schedule for the days that, all the changes and stuff, and he's misread it, so we've like gone in when like there's still guards and security and
yeah they were fully staffed. They were ready for something like this to happen. From the two of you and your pistols, it wasn't enough. You didn't even get a dime. And I think maybe there was a casualty as this went down. I
feel like JR may have took a hostage.
Yeah.
And wasn't very, what's the word I'm looking for? Gentle with them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he would have done, but...
Gun went off a little early, itchy trigger finger in a stressful situation. Probably with guns in your hand pointed at people probably for the first time in your lives. And you're young. You both are so young. You're two scared kids trying to get out. Bad situation gets even worse. You're going to prison for the rest of your life. And I can't imagine that the prison system in Manchester is particularly forgiving. I don't even know where you would end up.
I think Style Prison. And I feel like that's been there for a long time. And even then, it's a shithole.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine good things.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you get tuberculosis and die in the 1860s. So there's no way you can go there. I mean, what are you going to tell Clarice? What are you going to tell Pete?
Poor Pete. We're going to have to tell Pete that he can't change his name, first off. That's going to be heartbreaking news for a 2-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, poor...
Devastating.
PAT. That is devastating.
But I feel like I told you so's are coming in thick and fast as soon as Arthur gets home.
I mean, and even
Arthur
worse,
gets home.
They've seen your face, Arthur. Are you going to go home after they've seen what you look like?
Oh, no. I am going to hide. Because that's the smart thing to do.
It's definitely the smart thing to do. What kind of place would Arthur go to hide in a moment like this?
I've got 2 options here. I'll let you flavor this.
Okay.
And one of them is actually a place where my real life family worked. So behind me, there's a massive park. Mm-hmm. And Oliver Cromwell lived here at one point.
Sick.
And his house is there. So maybe could have gone and hide in like the servants' quarters for the house there, or I could have gone into the big like 5 acres of woods around it and hid in the hobo camp that was like there.
I think it makes more sense for you to go hide in the servants' quarters, because I bet they'll know to go search that hobo camp. That's probably the first place that they're going to go turn out after they've seen two guys fail at robbing a bank, especially two young guys that are, they look hard scrabble. So I think you're running down the street and you're panting and you're sweating and you've never felt this much adrenaline in your life. I mean, this is genuinely, it's life or death. You're being pursued by cops and they're firing shots off. They're not able to hit you. Guns aren't that accurate at this point in time, and you're a moving target and they're moving too. That this is you genuinely running for your fucking life, and you've lost JR. You have no idea where he is, if they've caught him or not. You're panicking and moving, and what's going through Arthur's head?
Oh, he is shitting his pants. He's thinking, oh, what's going to happen to Clarice? What's going to happen to poor little Pete? Like, what's happened to JR? What's happened to that one person that JR shot for no reason?
Yeah.
Like, every single thing that could go wrong or has gone wrong is just running through his head as he's, running down the street trying to get away from the police.
Yeah. And I think you take a corner really, really sharp. A couple corners maybe really, really sharp, and you manage to lose the guy who is directly on your tail. Like, they've lost eye line on you, which is exactly what you needed to have happen as you come into this park that would have the Oliver Cromwell house. The servants' quarters are in the back. There's an entrance back there. It's not always locked. There are places to hide. I mean, there's a whole cellar system that you can burrow in, essentially, and just hide out until the heat passes.
Yeah, I feel like that's what he'd do. He'd probably, grab a couple loaves of bread, or whatever he can get his hands on, and then probably just hide like in the wine cellar, maybe behind a couple barrels or something, just to keep himself held up.
You and the cobwebs down there. I mean, it's nothing. It's quiet. It's desolate. I don't really know what would be going on there at that point in time. I don't think it's necessarily like a protected site, but I think
it was just a house at this point. Just rich people live there.
Oh, hell yeah. You're not going to get bothered in the wine cellar. Not today. But how long do you think Arthur's going to stay down there? How long is he going to wait?
No, that's a good question.
That Clarice is going to hear about this by now. She's going to know 100%. What happened.
She probably would have found out before I even got home. Like,
100%.
Got to the basement. I feel like he'd probably spend a couple days, maybe like 2 or 3 days down there.
And then I think it makes sense.
On his way back, like, have a mask, like a balaclava on or something, so he wouldn't have been noticed, and a hat on maybe.
Yeah, well, and your beard would have grown out, I would imagine, a little bit, and you look scruffier, like dirty. I mean, I'm sure you're covered in like dirt and grime and waste, given where you were and how small of a space it was. Are you gonna try and go home?
Yeah, I feel like he would slowly make his way home, making sure to check, like the streets as he's turning onto, and make sure there's no police like about.
How long of a walk is it from the Cromwell house to your house?
I feel like it's like a 45-minute walk from where they were to where it is. I feel like it's a good long walk, but I feel like it goes into like more desolate areas. Like it's like going from like a nice city borough to like slums sort of thing.
Yeah, it's quiet. You're unbothered. You walk in peace. You get to enjoy the city, and you feel like, okay, shit, maybe this is blown over. And maybe they caught JR and JR didn't flip on me, and maybe this is all gonna be okay. And then you get to your front door.
I feel like Arthur would open the door and be like, Clarice, before you start, I know I was wrong. Just give me 2 minutes, take my boots off and get comfortable and clean for a minute before you start shouting.
And then you don't hear anything. There's no response. She's not there in your entry kitchen dining room area.
I feel like he would have a look around to find, or try and find any notes or signs to where they could be.
Your bedroom door is closed. It's just only it's a couple of rooms. You have like that kitchen dining room area, and then you have it it's like an open entryway into like the area where your couch is at. And then off of that room, there's a bedroom door, and you share it with your wife and also with PEAT Pete. And that door is closed.
I'd go straight in. Like, if I didn't see them in the living area, be like sort of not barge in, but like rush in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you see when you open the door, it looks like Clarice is sleeping on the bed, but she's face down and she's sprawled and she's wearing her clothes, her normal clothes, the outfit that she wears every day. It's not the outfit that she would wear to bed.
Yeah.
And you can tell something's wrong. It's not natural the way that she's laying down. Her chest isn't rising and falling, and her skin doesn't look right. Arthur, she doesn't look right.
Arthur would rush straight over to the bed and like flip her over.
And as you do that, you will see the puddle of blood that's collected underneath her body, that's soaked through your sheets into your mattress, that's crusted onto her clothes, and she is cold when you touch her, and her skin has turned blue.
Arthur would hold Clarice in his arms, and he'd probably start bawling.
Has Arthur been around death before?
I feel like he's seen death, but I don't think it's ever been, someone as close to him as Clarice was.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like maybe his parents, but I feel like he was a very young boy when his parents passed away, so it wasn't like he knew them very well.
Yeah, I don't want to phrase it like this, but it's less traumatic when you don't quite know what's going on versus when you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, exactly that. And her being like a constant since he was a child is something, when you have something like that taken away, such a big change to have happen so suddenly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you spent the entire walk back rehearsing what you were going to say to her to apologize for being wrong.
Yes. It's not the first time he's rehearsed that speech, but he didn't think it was going to be the last time he rehearsed that speech.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a speech we've all rehearsed when the person that you love tells you that you have a stupid idea and that you're a fucking moron. And they were right, because of course she was right. Of course she was right, and of course this would happen while you were hiding out. And you couldn't do anything about it, and you could have been here, but you didn't fucking listen. You didn't listen. And this is on you. You know it's on you. That's
it. He is 100% blaming himself. Going through the I should have been here. Why did I listen to JR? It wasn't a sound plan. I just wanted the money so we could do things. And after like maybe 2 or 3 minutes of sheer just self-loathing, I think Arthur would start looking for Pete. P-E-A-T, Pete.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like a good moment to spell that name. As you're cradling your wife's corpse in your arms. You're looking for P-E-A-T, Pete. Clarice, I'm assuming you've laid her corpse back down on the bed. I don't like that I'm using the word corpse, but...
Is there another word?
I don't know, her body.
I don't know, that sounds so much worse. The corpse sounds better.
Okay, we'll go with corpse
I'd lay her in a peaceful sort of laying way.
You close her eyes and you cover her with a blanket so you don't have to look at the gaping gunshot wound in her chest. It just doesn't look like it was like a clean kill. It looks like she bled out and like there was probably a lot of noise. And you're a little surprised that this didn't get police attention, because it seems like something that they would have paid attention to. And I think that's probably when you notice that on the opposite side of the bed, closer to the wall. Your son is on the floor in a similar state. It's a little more obvious what happened to him at first glance. The wound, the bullet is through his head, is straight between the eyes. He didn't fight. He was a child. How was he going to fight? He's a baby. And his mom probably died trying to defend him. And his dad was hiding in
a basement,
eating bread and pissing on himself.
He would. Oh God, how would a person react? He would fucking, the self-loathing starts again. Just fucking everything. I feel like this is worse this time, but I feel like it doesn't stop at self-loathing. I feel like it turns into hate, not just for himself, but for JR as well, for making him be away from home while this happened. This is something he could have at least attempted to have stopped.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when extraordinarily bad things happen in our lives, we look for reasons, right? I mean, you look for anything to blame to try and keep yourself from cracking. This would be enough to destroy anyone. And Arthur is a strong man, but he's been through a lot, and this is his entire support system. I mean, his parents have been gone since he was a child. It's not like he had a big family. He always had Clarice, and he had JR, and he had his other petty criminal friends, but they're fair weather friends. They're not family.
Yeah.
And your best friend called you out to a job that you knew was probably too good to be true, and you listened because you love him. And you really, really wanted it to be true. Because if it was true, man, it would have been good. It would have been the high life. You would have taken Clarice and Pete out of this life and this place.
And had a house with windows.
And had a house with fucking windows, Arthur. And then there's a knock on the door. It's not a regular knock. It's a heavy 3-rep knock. You know what this knock is. This is a cop knock.
I don't even think Arthur would stick around. I think he would put Pete on the bed next to his mother.
Yeah.
And then grab whatever he needed. I feel like Arthur had a gun in under the bed. Yep. Just for self-protection. I feel like he'd grab his gun and then jump out the window. Thankfully, there's no glass. Yeah, there's no glass, no risk of getting hurt, and just book it. You'd probably run to JR to see, if he can hide there for a couple of days. For sure. Yeah, I don't even think the cops see you jump out the window. You knew how it was going to look when they showed up. You knew. I mean, it's only ever one thing. It's usually the husband, and what do they say? You cracked. Especially after the robbery gone wrong, you watch someone die and it awakened something in you. This is your only option. I mean, you can't stick around. What? They're going to believe that you were hiding in Oliver Cromwell's basement for 3 days? Yeah, sounds like a shit lie, doesn't it? And then you show back up and your wife and your child are dead. It's convenient, is what it is. It's convenient. Yes. And the cops they're stupid, but... They're not that stupid. They're not that stupid. Or they're stupid enough to believe that there's no way that anything else could have happened. And it's an easy bow to put on that sort of story of sadness and poverty. But you make your way to JR's house, and his living situation isn't much better than yours, but he lives a little more lavishly than you do. He's the kind of guy, he doesn't have a wife and a kid to take care of. He gets to... Yeah, have to spend the money on stupid stuff. On stuff that makes him look like he's better off than he actually is. The type of people that live hand to mouth and spend their money on things that they can't afford. They save up 3 paychecks to buy one article of clothing that makes them look bougier, makes them look like they fit in with the crowd that they're trying to be a part of. So what does Arthur really think of JR at this point? I think Arthur is, as much as he's blaming himself, he's also putting a heavy amount of blame on JR for having that job and fucking up the job, in all seriousness.
Yeah.
Right? If it wasn't for JR making those mistakes, he wouldn't be in this situation. He doesn't think anyway. But I also feel like, he's thinking, is there any of the jobs that Clarice has told me not to go and do ever come back where I've actually been making money instead of hiding in Oliver Cromwell's basement for 3 days?
Yeah. And I think that's fair. And I think, Arthur's kind of in a shit position where this is the last person he has left. And he's just gone through the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to him at the end of a 3-day, trauma. That's truly what it is when you're fleeing for your life like that. Because it's not, the chances of the cops actually taking you in and not just killing you there on the street were slim. And then walking back into that. And now you have, literally nowhere else to go. What are you going to do? Go to the hobo camp? No, you go to JR's house. And I think you make your way inside. The door's not locked. It's never locked. This is a place where all your bummy friends crash out when they've had too much to drink or they can't make rent at the, what are they called? Flop houses?
Yeah.
This is where people end up. So there are people there. It's not anyone you recognize. They're just drunk or high on opium, lazing around. Nobody's coherent enough to respond to you. It honestly feels kind of surreal. It feels like a dream. All of these people are going about their lives like normal.
Yeah, like nothing's happened.
The world is carrying on around you. It's moving on. They don't even care that Clarice is dead, that P-E-A-T is dead.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those where it feels like everybody's looking at him he's the weird one.
Yeah.
It's like people are like, oh, we know what you did, sort of thing.
Yeah, there's got to be some paranoia too.
Well, 100%. He's looking over his shoulder constantly. Even in JR's house, where there's, in all of the knowledge for Arthur, there has never been a police officer. He is checking over his shoulder every few seconds to make sure nobody's there to get him.
Yeah, and there may be, I think, 4 or 5 guys here, but they're all they're sloppy, and none of them are JR.
I feel like you'd have a look around, see if there's any hints of where JR is at this moment in time, or where he's going, or if he's even been home in the last 3 days.
Yeah, I think you can definitely tell he's been home. His trunk is gone. His big steamer trunk, the one that he kept all of his things in, it's gone. All of the fine things that he had, that he cared about, the things that he liked to flaunt, his guns, they're gone.
I feel like Arthur would probably ask the most coherent of the drunkards
Yeah,
where,
for sure.
Where JR has gone.
And I'm sorry, I'm not going to try and do a Mancunian drunken accent right now, but...
Yeah, you've spoken to me while I'm drunk. I'm not that incoherent.
No, you're not. It's actually pretty impressive. But this dude's pretty glassy-eyed and vacant, but he manages to slur out that he went to the docks, going to America. Yeah, he said he killed some people.
Did he say who?
Yeah, there's something about a job gone wrong. And then he wanted to get the heat off. He fucked some guy over. I don't know.
I feel like Arthur would like walk off from that guy, but now he's probably connecting the dots of everything that has happened.
Yeah, JR is a sleaze and a liar, but he's always been your sleaze and your liar. He's a viper. He never turned his fangs on you before.
And I think at that, now he knows that JR is going to America. He is, he's gonna lie low, do a couple petty jobs to be able to pay to go over to America himself and get revenge. I feel like that's the best way to the most bluntest way to
Yeah.
to put it, or at least find out some answers of why he did what he did.
Yeah, I mean, what does Arthur even have anymore? His life is gone. His wife is dead. His son is dead. His best friend has presumably betrayed him. He's on the run, wanted by the police actively for a bank robbery that ended in homicide, and then also presumably for the murder of his own wife and child. Because he didn't stick around long enough to answer those questions, nor will he. And, he could go get his savings from his house, but there's cops all over that place. And it's not like you had enough to buy a ticket to America anyway.
No, definitely not.
So you're gonna run some low-level street thugging jobs, and you got a gun. You gonna rob people, or what's your plan, Arthur?
Oh, he's gonna do any means. At this point, revenge is all Arthur knows is the anger.
Yeah.
Of a man he's not sure if he wants to kill JR, but he wants to hurt him to a point where killing him might be the next best thing for him. Yeah,
I mean, you're a man who's just had all of the love in your life sucked out of it in one day. You've lost everything in one day, in like the span of an hour. It's all evaporated.
Yeah.
And so what do you do when you had a life that was so full of love and then suddenly it's completely vacant? I mean, logically killing him's not going to bring them back. Hurting them or hurting him isn't going to make up for whatever has happened to your wife and to Pete. But there's nothing else left but the anger.
That's all he can thrive on.
If you're not angry, what are you going to do? Are you going to turn into one of these lushes and you're just going to drink yourself to death? That's not who Arthur is. Arthur's always done the absolute most he could to make the best of his life. And now...
Yeah. This is as the kids call it nowadays, the villain arc.
Yeah.
This is where all those things that Clarice said, where he's kind-hearted, he's always talkative, he's always having a joke, he's always making people laugh. That's evidently of what we've seen already from this campaign. That's all down the drain.
Yeah. I mean, and it would be for...
It would be for most people. Most people wouldn't be able to...
What do you do when you're faced with devastation like that? You try and numb the pain? You try and not think about it? Or do you do something about it? And therapy was not invented yet, and Arthur certainly would not be going to it, even if it was.
Opium, too expensive.
Yeah, he doesn't have money for that.
Vengeance, cheap.
Vengeance is cheap. Yeah, bullets aren't that expensive. But, yeah, I think you make your money. You make your money, and you get to America. I think you're flying under the radar. You're just changing your appearance really, really frequently. How long have you been in America when we find you next? When we find you probably in New York?
I think when he left New York, he was...
Mm-hmm.
Right, so he's 28 when he's left New York to find Byron Black, as far as we're aware.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, 20, 25, 26 the next time we see him, he's still trying to figure out the way of life.
So it's been 4 or 5 years, you're adjusting to life in America, but you're looking for information about JR, about Jensen Rainey, or at least the man that you knew as Jensen Rainey. And I don't know, I think maybe you're in a bar. What have you been doing for money, by the way, since you got here?
I feel like he has been using his revenge for good. He has been doing, going after people, going after bounties. Finding people, not nothing high level like he is with Byron Black. Like nothing where it's like thousands of dollars, but $200-$300 bounties. 1 or 2 of them a month, is enough to get you by at that time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're doing really well with that amount of money in New York in the 1860s. I mean, the Civil War is probably just now wrapping up, and there was an awful lot of Confederate, war criminals that were to be brought in, and you're doing the damn thing. Is this about the point in your life where you change your accent? I mean, you're a wanted man. Your name is known in England, and if somebody were to hear your accent and the name Arthur Richardson, they would know.
Yeah, it's not hard to put two and two together. I think this is when he first got to Ellis Island, for his immigration. I think he spent his whole time, the 2-3 weeks, however it was, on the boat, not speaking to a single person.
Yeah, that's fair.
When he finally got there and he had to speak, to be able to immigrate or emigrate, one of the two, whichever one it is.
Yeah.
That's when he changed his accent to the deep, rumbly tone that we know it to be now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's his best attempt at sounding not from Manchester. It's a solid attempt. I mean, nobody's put two and two together
yet. So far,
yet.
He's flying under the radar.
Yeah, so far. I mean, I think this is, I don't know. What's Arthur's morning like? What do you do in the morning?
I think at this point, he'd get up in the morning, and he'd pray, not for forgiveness for what he's going to do or the things he has done, but he prays for his wife and for his son, and he prays that his suffering, which is what he's calling all this hate, will end soon. That's what he wants. He wants to find JR. He just wants to know why. At this point, it's eating him, and if you've dealt with anger for long enough, it eats you back. If that makes sense. And,
yeah.
No,
it does.
When he first found out about it, might have been JR that killed Clarice and Pete, P-E-A-T. It wasn't. I want to kill him. I want to find out. But 5-6 years of this every day, the same anger. It is now at the point where I'm going to find out why he did it, and then I'm going to kill him. It's not a question of what he's going to do anymore. He knows he's going to kill him. That's the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all consuming. And today, when you go down to take your breakfast from the innkeeper at the place that you've been staying for the last, maybe 6 months, you open the newspaper like you always do to look for potential bounties and any information you may have, or you may be able to find about local lawbreakers, anybody that you may know. I mean, you don't hang out in the best circles. You know a lot of petty criminals, and sometimes they do stupid shit. And you see an article on the front page of the paper, and there's a name that you recognize and a picture that you recognize, and he's older. He is aged. And it says, Jebediah Rainey, second richest man in Texas, sells 600,000 acres to the Union Pacific Railroad.
I feel like that the rage of seeing him after so long and see him doing well, being the second richest man in Texas, really that's no small thing to brag about. And I feel like he would pull out his book of people he wanted to ask questions about Jebediah, and you'd see the Weeping Widows in there, you'd see Byron Black, you'd see all these different names of people that he wanted to ask questions to be able to find out information for this very reason, to know where to go look next. And he'd write down at the top in big, where it says JR ? It would say his new Jebediah Rainey. That would be what it is now.
Yeah. Changed his name, moved far away. I mean, he's so far out of the reach of the English police now.
But now, Arthur has a place to start looking. A couple people he knows who headed that way. He's got the Weeping Widows. They were last seen fleeing towards Texas. He's got Byron Black. He was seen fleeing towards Texas. However many other people who could have information are fleeing that way.
Yeah, people that you've heard about or met along the way that seemingly know more than they let on, that responded weird to your questions, or people that when you ask these questions, your friends, if you can call them friends, told you to talk to them. And I mean, that's when you start your journey. I'm sure you drop everything and you go. There's nothing tying you here. You don't have anyone. There's no friends. There's no room in your life for love or for joy. It's only that anger and that hatred and that singularly focused drive to get not just revenge, but like full vengeance. You are going to avenge Clarice and Pete.
Yeah, 100%. That's his. He is going to avenge both of them. The pair of them will be avenged. Oh, even if it costs him everything that he has left, which, what is like with Bessie, his arms and his legs. That's all he's got left to give.
I think the next time we see Arthur, it's been another couple of years, and you have been living a really hard life traveling from New York to Texas. I think we find you somewhere that's familiar to me, because it's easier for me to tell you exactly where you are if I know exactly where you are. You're outside of Kansas City. You're outside of Kansas City, and you've not been able to find JR. You've chased him all over the American South, and he was supposed to be here. He was supposed to come from Omaha to Kansas City because they were doing some sort of railway promotion on the Union Pacific Rail line, and he was supposed to stop through here. He was supposed to, and he never got off that fucking train, Arthur. And you're never gonna catch him by yourself. But you've heard a lot of things in your travels, and you are a desperate man. And I think you find yourself at a crossroads. I mean, quite literally a crossroads, and two dirt roads intersecting. There's no street sign. It's just fields of tall grass and corn on either side of you. There's no one here. And you know what you have to do, what you have to bury here to summon the kind of help that you need.
Yeah, Arthur takes off his wedding ring, takes the one last picture he has of Clarice. He takes the picture he has of Pete. And then, he takes his British ID, not his newfound American one that he was given. He takes everything from his past that he has on him, every keepsake, even his pistol that he took from under the bed. Everything that he had that is linked to at home, the person that he once was, he buries it and hopes something will, help him become a person who can do what he needs to do.
Yeah. It takes a minute. It takes a minute. And you've almost lost faith. You're ready to get back on Bessie and leave. And as you turn around, you hear someone behind you. She clears her throat. And you turn around to face her, and it's someone that looks very much like your wife. Almost identical. There are a few things that are a little off. It's like uncanny valley. But this is the closest you come to seeing her in years.
I feel like Arthur would drop the accent. There's nobody else around, and apparently Clarice is stood in front of him.
Yeah, no, you're alone.
And it'd be like, is it really you?
She smiles at you, and her smile goes a little too far up her face. It's a little too wide. It's
a little too toothy.
Her teeth are bared a little too much. Yeah, but it is so similar. It's so similar. And she beams at you and she says, Arthur. And her voice sounds just like Clarice's. And you wonder how on earth this creature would know how Clarice sounded. It's good to finally meet you. I heard lots about you from your friend. I think you need some help.
I do need help. But who told you about me? Who are...
No. You don't get to ask any questions here. You're here for my help. That's why you've buried your old life here at my crossroads, is it not? You need salvation? Strength?
I need strength. Salvation's far beyond a man like me.
Oh, that's all right. We'll worry about that another time. I can offer you exactly what you want. I can give you the power to take your vengeance, to take back what's yours, to give your family's death purpose. Maybe I can make it so that you can kill him. Jensen, JR, Jebediah.
What do you require of me? I know that...
Nothing you can't afford. Nothing that you weren't already giving up. Just your immortal soul.
I was gonna go to hell either way, let's be honest, so...
You were. This is just making sure that whatever time you spend here is worth it.
And you are sure I can kill him?
Oh yes, I will ensure that you kill him.
Will I be able to find out the answers?
You're the one with the questions. You have to ask him. All I know is that he had help getting here and that it was unfair. I don't like games that aren't fair. So I'm offering to help you.
Okay.
And she extends her hand to shake.
I feel like Arthur, instead of shaking, hugs. It's his wife, you know, you're not seeing her in 8 years.
Yeah.
I think, like, grabs the wrist and just, like, pulls Clarice, question mark,
Yeah.
in for a hug.
Yeah, as you pull her against you, you feel that everything under her clothes is just bone. That there's nothing under there and that this is just an illusion. She feels so wrong. And her smile is so wrong. And her eyes keep flickering between Clarice's eyes and something
Evil. Yeah.
something else. You can't put a name on it. You've seen evil. This is not human evil. This is something primordial, something that speaks to disaster. But you're hugging her because this is the last time you'll get to hug anything that looks like your wife. And that's where we'll leave you.
This feeling